In 2026, Elon Musk says, we could be living on Mars. Is it possible? The planet has no atmosphere to speak of, an extremely cold climate, and is bombarded with deadly radiation. It's hard to imagine how humans could possibly survive there, let alone live comfortably. But hey, Musk isn't known for making claims without at least some evidence to back them up. So is it really possible to live on Mars? Let's take a look at what it would take to make that happen. And do not forget to watch to the end to find out what SpaceX CEO Elon Musk himself had to say about this. There are three main obstacles to overcome if we want to put a human settlement on Mars. First, we need a breathable atmosphere. Second, we need a source of water. And third, we need a reliable source of energy. Without these basic necessities, any mission to Mars would be doomed to fail. The atmosphere is essential, because without it, our bodies would literally explode. If you were to walk outside on Mars without a spacesuit, the lack of air pressure would cause the gases in your body to expand, and the water in your cells to boil. Meanwhile, the thin atmosphere would offer no protection from harmful solar winds and cosmic radiation. On Earth, we enjoy a rich supply of both liquid and frozen water, but Mars doesn't have much of either. The red planet may have once been a watery paradise, but today, 96% of its surface is covered in arid desert. What little water does exist on Mars is mostly in the form of ice caps at its north and south poles. Finally, to build a self-sustaining settlement on Mars, we need to generate a reliable source of energy to power everything from life support systems to construction equipment. We know that Mars receives less sunlight than Earth, so we'll have to get creative. Luckily for us, we already have a pretty good idea of what the challenges will be, and we're already working on potential solutions. Let's start with the atmosphere. Scientists think that Mars lost its protective atmosphere billions of years ago, when the sun was younger and much more active. Back then, Mars didn't have a strong magnetic field like Earth does, which causes our planet's atmosphere to act as a sort of shield against the sun, as scorching rays and constant stream of charged particles. This meant that the sun's superheated plasma could strip away Mars's atmosphere over time. Without a thick atmosphere, Mars couldn't retain heat and the planet cooled, causing any remaining water to freeze and most of its carbon dioxide to turn into rock. But we're not giving up just yet. Okay, seriously. In 2008, researchers came up with the crazy idea of detonating several nuclear bombs around Mars to create an artificial magnetic field. This controversial plan, called Project Valkyrie, would involve setting off about 100 nukes in orbit around Mars to produce a cloud of ionized gas called the Martian magnetosphere and shield. Project, or MASSP, the resulting magnetic bubble would theoretically protect the planet from the solar wind and prevent further atmospheric loss. Whether it would also kill all life on Mars, including any potential native Martians, is anyone's guess. Even if we can give Mars a protective atmosphere, we still won't be able to breathe it. As things stand, Mars's atmosphere is mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which makes up 95.3% of the planet's thin atmosphere. There's also argon, which accounts for 1.6% of its atmosphere, along with small amounts of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon monoxide, water vapor, and xenon. Unfortunately, none of these gases are particularly breathable. The little oxygen that is present, only 0.13%, is thinly spread across the planet's frigid landscape, meaning that it's not easily accessible to us. However, this doesn't mean we won't be able to breathe on Mars. After all, NASA has already developed technology that allows astronauts to walk on Mars in specially designed suits. These suits allow explorers to breathe by circulating recycled air from the spacecraft. As long as they stay within 100 meters of the ship, they can safely venture outside. To go further, they'll have to carry around portable oxygen tanks. That said, there are ways we could terraform Mars to make it more Earth-like. According to researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, we could warm up the red planet's frozen poles with powerful lasers, releasing the trapped carbon dioxide and water vapor. This would gradually thicken the atmosphere and create a more hospitable environment. The team behind the project estimates that it would take about 100 million years to terraform Mars, assuming we could somehow increase laser power to around 100 gigawatts. So this probably isn't a viable option for those of us looking to retire on Mars. What's more important, though, is that we find a way to use what's already there. That means mining resources on Mars itself rather than shipping them in from Earth. For example, one of the best places to find water on Mars is in the permanently shadowed regions of its poles. These areas never receive direct sunlight, meaning that the temperature remains extremely low and the ice doesn't melt. Although reaching these deposits would be challenging, they could prove invaluable for future settlers. Astronauts could use the water for drinking, farming, and even rocket fuel. And since Mars has almost twice as much water as Earth, we shouldn't run out anytime soon. As for how we'll actually get the water out of the ground, we'll have to wait and see. Excavating Martian ice with today's technology would require heavy machinery powered by fossil fuels, but we aren't likely to bring those resources with us. Instead, we may have to rely on nuclear or solar power. Or perhaps we could harness the energy of Mars's weak volcanoes. Yes, that's right. The Red Planet is technically a volcano. About 3 billion years ago, Mars had significant volcanic activity. Although none of the planet's volcanoes have erupted since then, they're still releasing heat from their magma chambers, meaning that Mars's core is still hot. This heat could potentially be harnessed to generate electricity. One promising method involves drilling a hole down to the core and then dropping a heavy object like a satellite or a chunk of metal. The falling object would pick up speed as it approached the core, eventually shooting back out of the hole like a cannonball. By capturing the kinetic energy released during this process, we could use it to power turbines and generate electricity. Better yet, this type of geothermal energy could provide Mars with a nearly limitless supply of clean energy, as long as it remains active. At this point, we've got a livable atmosphere, water, and energy. All we need now is a place to live. We could try to mine materials on Mars to build shelters. However, doing so would require heavy equipment and tools that we'd need to bring with us from Earth. The obvious solution is to create 3D printed houses. Using advanced robotics, we could manufacture entire buildings from Martian regolith, the loose soil and rock that covers the planet's surface. The raw materials would be excavated by a giant scoop and then mixed with a binding agent to form a type of concrete. The mixture would then be fed into a 3D printer, which would use it to create walls, floors, and roofs. In fact, we might not even need to import 3D printers. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory is already testing a system that uses rovers to create Martian habitats autonomously. The agency plans to send the system to Mars in 2026 to test it out. So if all goes according to plan, we could be seeing the first Martian house being built sometime next decade. But what does SpaceX CEO Elon Musk have to say about living on Mars? During a Reddit Ask Me Anything in 2016, Musk said that the first human settlements on Mars would consist of small groups of people living in underground tunnels. He said the tunnels would be dug by machines similar to the tunnel boring machines used in subway construction. According to Musk, the tunnels would be reinforced with the regolith to create a radiation shield. He went on to say that these initial settlements would need to be completely self-sustaining, adding that it would take about 5 or 10 years to build up a large enough population on Mars to support a city. In the meantime, Mars would basically be like a very remote island settlement. Musk believes that the first people to live on Mars will be very adventurous, and said that he hoped that there would be a lot of interest from people who want to be part of this new civilization. When asked if a person could ever return to Earth after living on Mars, Musk replied that it would depend on how long they spent on the Red Planet. He said that if they only stayed for a year or two, it would be no problem. But if they lived there for longer than 10 years, it would be difficult to readjust to Earth's gravity and atmosphere. Well folks, we've reached the end of another amazing journey through space. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on any of our upcoming adventures. Until next time, keep looking up.